Hello, hobby friends, and welcome to today's episode of Hobby Talk. My name is David Baez, and in today's episode, we are going to dive into the world of numismatics. Today's guest is a longtime hobbyist and has an impressive collection of graded and ungraded ancient coins. Here to talk to us more and to give us a 101 about this amazing hobby is Dmitry Drubitsky. Dmitry, welcome to Hobby Talk. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What I wanted to do was to kind of talk a little 101 with you. So let's start off real quick with, how you began collecting ancient coins and what's your focus and how, how it all started for you.
All right. So actually, before collecting ancient coins, I was and still am an avid collector of baseball cards. So pre-war baseball cards, and I was just randomly browsing around somewhere, and I saw someone selling an ancient graded coin just like the one you have, and I was like, "Wow, that's awesome! I can't believe that this is something that you know, something that's out there that seems to be available, and it's something I wanted to learn more about. So I started from there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm gonna say honestly, that's exactly what happened with me. And it's you, honestly, because me and you, to your point, baseball cards is how we connected, through the Facebook groups. And then we just kind of started talking coins. We did have that common denominator, with more of the silver and gold. And then you kind of lured me in a little bit with the world coins, the ancient coins rather. And yeah, I love it. Very cool that you kind of started out the same way. So, um, how long would you say now that you've been in the hobby?
I've been collecting cards seriously for a little over 5 years,
Mhm.
and in a couple of weeks it'll be a full year that I've been doing the coins.
So let's talk a little bit again, taking more of a one-on-one approach here. For some of the beginner hobbyists and people that want to dive into the world of ancient coins, what's the best way for them to like break into the hobby? For someone who really knows relatively nothing about ancient coins.
So the best way that I'd recommend is to really do as much reading as possible and to get as much information as possible before you consider actually buying a coin. So I'd recommend books, forums, Facebook groups, anything that would get you a feel for what it is that you're going to be getting into, and see if it, get a feel if it's right for you or not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Facebook's always, in terms of hobbies in general, a great resource. Talking to some of the seasoned veterans out there, and there's some great numismatic, just coin, silver, gold, groups out there that you can learn a lot. So that's a good point. So let's, again, beginner hobbyist question in terms of the affordability, of the hobby in general, price ranges. Can you delve a little bit into that and what a beginner should be, in terms of budget? What should they be preparing for?
So there's actually a very wide range of coins, ancient coins specifically, that can be collected. Um, if you're on a budget, something like a late Roman bronze coin could be had for as little as $5 to $10. Um,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm most interested in silver coins. Those are a little bit more expensive, but they're still really not that bad at all. You can get a decent silver coin for 50 to $100. And even graded ones can be found for under $100. And then of course they go up from there depending on the popularity, the demand, rarity, and type of coin. So they can easily go up into the thousands and even tens of thousands, and even higher than that.
That's amazing. You mentioned, $5 for this, this piece of history that just that's to me is mind-boggling. Like, do you, in your opinion, would you say the hobby in general is quite undervalued?
Um, the hobby's actually been around for such an incredibly long time, and the price of coins uh, has increased significantly, but there's still quite a few coins out there that are extremely budget friendly and
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, I mean that's great because again, for a beginning hobbyist that's on a limited budget, that might be intimidated by hearing, somebody mentioning something from, the Greek, right, or Roman Empire. I think the assumption is going to be that there's just a high ticket, but high value, right, to that coin. So it's kind of nice to know, right, that you can do this on a limited budget. So what are some of the pitfalls that can be avoided, right, for someone just getting into ancient coins?
Well, the biggest thing to look out for in ancient coins would be fakes, and unfortunately, there's quite a few of them out there. Um, and really, the best way to avoid them is first, like I mentioned before, to learn as much as you can about them. And there's actually a lot to learn when it comes to spotting a fake. Another big thing to look out for when starting out is don't just jump right on eBay and start buying stuff because the grand majority of the fakes out there are actually on eBay. I'd recommend
Yeah.
to a reputable dealer or a reputable place to shop like Bcoins
Mm.
or um, there are good Facebook groups out there where dealers also sell coins.
Yeah, I mean it's the one hobby that me and you have a bigger common denominator in, baseball cards. I mean, it's another hobby that we have to, we essentially as hobbyists, right? We protect each other, from some of the stuff, particularly unfortunately, a lot of it lands on eBay to your point, right? But I'm not surprised to hear you say that fakes is one of the biggest pitfalls in the hobby because whenever there's opportunity, right? Unfortunately, some will prey. So that's good to know that there's some good information out there and some good groups where people can kind of help, right? Detect them, and avoid, what could be a costly mistake. Let's talk about the grading and authentication piece. Is grading a big thing in ancient coins, like it is in sports cards? And if so, what are the key authenticators in the market?
So grading has become bigger of late. Um, I would say probably within the past 5 years, it's become a much bigger thing than it used to be. But on the other side, collectors that have been collecting a lot longer than I have um, far prefer to hold the coin in their hands, and they really dislike the slabbing and the grading aspect of it because it brings a significant premium to a coin that could otherwise be had for a lot cheaper if it was raw. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, if you're dealing with raw coins, you have the possibility of running into a fake. So
Yeah.
um, for a beginner, I would say that graded coins are not a bad thing, but as you get more experience, raw is definitely the way to go.
Now, is there in the card world there's the raw card reviews, right? Like BGS does it, a couple of these guys. Is there something similar in the coin world where, let's say, to your point, someone likes the look and feel, right, of a raw coin, but kind of just wants to know like where that grade might be on their coin and the authenticity of it, that they could send it in, get it authenticated, and kind of like keep it in that raw environment?
I think NGC, who is by far the biggest third-party grader for ancient coins, does offer a service like that right
Mhm.
on eBay. Um, but for me personally, I consult with friends in the hobby that are a lot more experienced than me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and of course, I learn new stuff every day. But if I'm unsure about something, I run it by some other eyes that can see things that I can't see yet.
Yeah, yeah, we always have that trusted core that kind of hold our hand, and then eventually, Dimitri, we have to pay it forward, right, as we become more experienced in the hobbies, right?
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So let's dive a little bit into rare coins. What are some of the rarest and most sought after coins in the hobby today?
So um, I'm going to tie this into sports cards. So in the sports cards arena, I think everyone would agree that the T206 Honus Wagner is the most well-known and most sought after and most expensive card out there. The ancient coin equivalent of that would be a coin that was released by Brutus, who was one of the people who assassinated or conspired to assassinate Julius Caesar, and he released a coin that commemorated the assassination of Julius Caesar, which happened on the Ides of March. I think that's March 15th of 44 BC. So the back of the coin reads EIDMAR, oh, Ides of March, Eidmar, and the front of the coin has a helmet and a couple of daggers. So Caesar was actually stabbed to death during a Senate meeting led by Brutus and Cassius. And this coin, there's probably about 50 known copies out there. And whenever you see one at auction, it goes for, I'd say, at least $100,000 in a
Wow.
beat up condition.
Yeah.
And it can go to well over $1 million in a good condition. And I
Yeah.
actually saw right now there's one up for auction, a gold version of this coin. There are only 3 known copies. One of them is up for auction right now by a big auction house, and it's probably gonna fetch several $1 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say the second you mentioned gold, I just assumed like at least like a 3 to 5x, right?
Uh, there's only 3 known copies, and one of them has questionable authenticity actually. So this would be probably the rarest and most sought after ancient
Wow.
coin out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great comparison to that T206, by the way. Yeah, just hearing the backstory behind it, that's an amazing piece. I'm gonna have to after this interview, Google it and learn a little bit more about it.
The historical significance of that coin is absolutely incredible.
That is, of course, unless you want to show me the one that you have.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh man. No, so that's great. And so let's talk a little bit about your collection now, right? So of the current items in your collection, what was the most difficult item to obtain and why?
um I wouldn't say that anything that I currently own was necessarily incredibly difficult to obtain. I haven't tried for anything that, is worth thousands of bucks yet. I'm sure I eventually will. But there was one coin in particular that I was looking for a while, and I did finally manage to snag a raw copy of it. It also is pretty significant historically, not as significant as the assassination of Julius Caesar, but I have a coin minted by the Emperor Titus, um, and it's actually a dedication to the grand opening of the Roman Colosseum in 80 AD. So Titus's father, Vespasian, was the one who pretty much built the Colosseum, but it wasn't completed until after he died. Um, and this coin has an elephant on the back of it. Um, and a portrait of Titus on the front. And I thought it was really cool that a special coin was released to commemorate the opening of the Colosseum.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to see that one day. Again, I'm kind of taking notes because I'm such a rookie, as you could probably hear right now. I mean, the little that I know, and I thank you in part for that, has been just in the last few months. But I know there's so much out there, and there's just great stories behind it, as the one you just mentioned now. So it's not just this coin, but if you dig into it deeper, you read the books, you go online, you read, there's some amazing connection to that time period that makes it that much more valuable, that much to a PC.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so I do actually have the coin here I could show. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the
Oh,
screen.
that'd be great. Yeah, absolutely.
See if, uh,
Yeah, it's coming. Very cool.
here's the back.
Yes. All right.
So this coin has become a lot more popular in recent years, and that's why it became so difficult for me to find because I was always getting outbid on it at auctions, and finding one that I could buy directly was really really cool. And it's a lower grade copy. It's not a particularly rare coin, but because of its historical significance, it's become very popular and hard
Yeah.
to get.
Great, great. I get the feeling that my next question to you was kind of tied to that, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In terms of, I always like to ask this to any hobbyist in general, even in my previous interviews. What's the one item, in this case, coin, that you still haven't been able to find that ranks high on your list? This seems like that might have been the previous one, but do you have another one that's kind of just been difficult for you to obtain?
Yeah. So we were talking about that Julius Caesar coin that was released by Brutus. So Julius Caesar coins in general are very tough and very popular um, in the ancient coin hobby. And I do own a few Julius Caesars, but it's really hard to find one that has a portrait of him on it.
Mhm.
So that's going to rank really high up there for me right now in finding one. Um,
Yeah.
they cost a significant amount more than a really basic one, which I do have one here to show.
Oh, great.
Let's see. Um, I have one that shows an elephant trampling a serpent on the front and priestly implements on the back. This coin is probably one of the better known and more recognized coins of his out there. This one's graded. See if it'll show up here or not. I don't know if that's coming through.
Yeah, it's coming through. What's the grade on that?
So this one's graded by ANACS or ANACS,
Okay.
and I don't normally go after ANACS graded coins because they're not as popular as NGC. But really, what I liked best about this one was that even though it was only graded a very fine, it has really nice iridescent toning on it, rainbow toning. You
Right.
probably see it very well when I showed it to you, but it really caught my eye. Most of these silver coins just look silver, so when you could find one that has this really cool, colorful toning on it, at least for me, it catches my eye.
Yeah, and in the world that I play in, a little bit more modern silver coins, same thing, right? Like if I find, an eagle or any coin from that time period that just has a nice tone to it, I tend to gravitate toward it. Like a lot of the, the, let's call it, the intermediate collectors and above, they'll grab those for their PCs just because of the sheer look of the coin. It really pops. Let's finish off, Dimitri, with a couple of outside the box questions that I do in every interview, and just kind of get someone to think a little bit more, right, or about their collection. So, and maybe stress you out a little bit at the same time. So, um, if you had to give up your entire collection except for one item, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. I like all of my coins. It would be hard to just pick one. Um, let's see. Let me find something that isn't one of the two that I've already shown. All right. So I think you may have already even seen this one. Um, this here is called an Athens owl. So on the front you have Athena,
Yes.
and on the back you have
Yes.
an owl.
That is a very nice coin.
So this is most likely the single most recognized coin in the ancient collecting world, and it was minted in the 5th century BC. So ancient coins themselves have been around since about the 7th century BC. So for I don't know, about 2,600 or so years. So this is one of the earliest ones that have been produced, and um, I just think it's so incredibly cool. So I'd pick that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. And I do remember us talking offline a while back about that particular coin. Glad it fell in the right hands. We'll wrap things up here with one last question. Outside of, and I think I kind of know the answer to it already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Outside of numismatics, what hobby are you most interested and why?
So I still collect baseball cards,
Yeah.
pre-war in particular. It's something that I did as a kid, and so many others in that hobby also did as a kid.
Yeah.
And When I was in my late 30s, my wife told me, you should get a hobby, and she's very into I chose something that I was already familiar with, and as a kid, of course, I couldn't afford the things that I wanted to, and
Right.
as a working adult, you have a little bit more means. So
Yeah.
I got I got into collecting pre-war baseball cards about 5.5 years ago, and I still do, but I love ancient coins so much now that I'd say that I do the coins more than the cards now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's funny that like I said, I figured I knew the answer just because that's how we connected. And Dimitri, I got to tell you, I thank you for this interview today because you're kind of touching on the main reason I wanted to do this and why I really took a broader approach, right, to this channel. Because there's these common denominators between all the hobbies in terms of interests and stories, and there's also just people that are kind of dipping their toe in the water with certain hobbies, and other hobbyists can kind of like grab their hand and kind of like give them some information and kind of take them there. And there's just other people that quietly, as they're collecting one, they've been doing the other, they just don't talk about it with that group, right? So in this case, it's kind of cool to hear. You're still involved in baseball cards. I could see the gravitation to the amazing coins that you have in your collection as well. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just don't see you leaving the baseball card hobby either. I could just see you, do kind of dabbling with both, or at least that's what I see in Facebook.
Well, absolutely. I wish there was more time in the day. Um, I've got three young kids, and the amount of time I get to myself is so little that I kind of don't have a choice right now but to focus on one. But I
Yeah,
definitely don't want to leave
yeah,
the pre-war uh,
yeah,
card either.
yeah. No, very cool. Dimitri, with that being said, I can't thank you enough for today. I hope I could down the road in the future invite you back so we can see some of those really cool coins you're bringing to your PC. And again, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure.
Great. Talk soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Please click on the like and subscribe button. Just a couple quick updates. We are officially live on iTunes, Google, as well as Spotify for our podcast. Go to hobbynetworkgroup.com for more details and links. Thanks for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye.